Hello and welcome to Test Your Might, episode 107, the premier video game debate show where lots of shenanigans happen. We've got a special guest today and a returning champ today. Cicero, let's start off with you. Welcome back. It's been a while.
You know, sometimes you gotta go away in order for people to miss you. So I missed you. And why don't you do me a favor and say hi to your mother for me?
You heard it here first, guys. And we also have a returning guest, Chris Clow. Welcome. How are you doing today?
Doing all right. Thank you for the invitation. Always a pleasure to join you guys and my good friend Cicero, whom I don't think I've spoken to yet in 2023, but I swear we are good friends. We're not avoiding each other. It's just the circumstances of life. But I'm thrilled to be here, and I really appreciate the invite. So I'll hopefully my might is up to snuff.
Of course.
Well, it will be tested.
Today we'll be discussing PSVR 2 future games, Hogwarts Legacy, and an all-time first-person shooter draft towards the end of the show. But first, if you're listening to us on a podcatcher of your choice, make sure you leave us a review down below. It really helps us out, especially on Apple iTunes. Go ahead and leave us a 5-star or what you think we deserve. And write a little comment. Let us know how we're doing, especially if you're on YouTube. We just hit 100. We're at 102 as of today. Subscribers. Right. So we finally hit it. Awesome. Slow in coming. Subscribing is hard for people apparently, but it's pretty easy. It's right up there. You just hit that button if you haven't already. And let us know how we're doing down in the comments. And also later with the draft, you guys get to decide the winner down below in the draft. So yeah, a little bit of housekeeping today. We had our favorite movie series, Into the Spider-Verse, our review with friend of the show, Isaac from the Infinity Bros. Joe and Mike and myself all debated it and talked about it and enjoyed it. It's a great video. It's already out. And future video later this week should be Harry Potter 2 and the Chamber of Secrets coming out to you guys over there. So it's been a while. Cicero, you haven't been here. We're doing our Last of Us mid-season check-in. Spoiler free. Go ahead. Tell us what you think of the show so far.
Well, so far I love it. I think it's fantastic. It is far better than I expected it to be, but I also expected it to be pretty good.
Okay. That's deep. Chris Clow,
yeah.
What do you think of it? It's mid-season, spoiler free, of course.
Yeah. It's funny because, the other day my wife listens to a podcast called Blank Check. It's like a big movie podcast, and they always tend to do like director filmographies and things, but they had like a special patron only episode about Street Fighter, the brilliant 1994 feature film starring Jean-Claude Van Damme and Raul Julia. And we've come a long way when it comes to video game adaptation. Like, I love Street Fighter. Raul Julia's performance in it is legendary, but just in terms of the batting average of video game to screen adaptations of any kind, they have managed to fall short of the mark in most cases by pretty sizable margins. But right out of the gate on that first episode, The Last of Us proved that it is the single best game to screen adaptation that's ever been committed, because it's actually taking the adaptive elements of telling its story seriously, unlike a lot of these other adaptations. So I think it's very strong. It's ludicrously emotional, that is on par with the experience of playing the game. But there is something to be said for the caliber of performers that they're going after and the truthfulness with which they're telling the story. It is very much the same story, but just adapted in different forms. And I think they're hitting it out of the park.
Oh, not much to say after that. That is strikingly perfect, that description. Honestly, the thing that I love most is the directors are choosing, if they write a script that is better than the game, they go with it. If it's not as good as the game, they go with the game story. And they kind of stay true that way very easily. And visually, gratifying. Like amazing show so far. Again, it's been a little while. What have we been playing video game wise? Chris, over to you first. What have you been playing lately?
Okay, this is gonna sound real dumb, but I was actually revisiting Lego Dimensions.
Oh wow,
So
is that the one with the things?
I felt, yeah. It's the toys to life thing, and I felt pretty hard for it when it was actually coming out because I like Legos and I like video games, so the idea of combining them is like candy, right? It's terrific. Some of those sets have gotten weirdly expensive,
Yeah.
but I wanted to pick some up that I didn't pick up the first time around. Probably spent too much money doing it, but I've been having a lot of fun with it. And then about a week and a half ago, I'm minding my own business watching a Nintendo Direct, and they drop an announcement that I have been waiting for literally every single Nintendo public pronouncement that they have done since about 2011, and they just shadow drop Metroid Prime Remastered. So I dropped Lego Dimensions pretty fast to move
everything.
over to. I pretty much, yeah. If they made it available that day, I grabbed my Switch and kept furiously refreshing the eShop until they actually did come up with because literally I've been waiting for this game since like 2011, and every single time they have announced something, I have been hoping that remastering Metroid Prime has been ideally the trilogy, but the treatment that they gave the first game is wonderful, and it's extremely impeccable. Like Retro Studios, they've always known what they were doing. So I moved to Metroid Prime and have been really, really enjoying just seeing, like, it made the jump to modernity so fast by implementing twin stick controls. It's ludicrous how well that game holds up, and then you just have the rebuilt visuals on top of it. It's a gorgeous game. It's one of the best games ever made. It's certainly one of my absolutely favorite games ever. So I'm in hog heaven with Metroid Prime Remastered.
Another high praise for Metroid. Mike was doing it the other last week. Apparently it's visually amazing and it looks brand new. It looks like a remake or a reboot, but it's his first experience with it. I played it back on the Wii. I didn't play it on the GameCube, but I played it on the Wii.
All right.
And apparently you can use those controls with the controls and aiming first person. So,
okay.
You can use twin stick. You can use
Waggle.
the motion controls like they put on the Wii, or you can use the classic tank controls like we're on the GameCube.
Oh wow.
Or you can use gyro aiming with twin stick if you want to. There's a whole host of accessibility options that I was very surprised that they included, but really just making it twin stick, it feels like a modern game. It's given it a whole new lease on life, and it was already one of the best games ever made. So I can't say enough about it. It is absolutely incredible.
Amazing. Over to you, Cicero. What have you got?
The games that have released in 2023 so far, right? Hell, we're almost 2 months through the year, but I keep going back to the same games. I keep playing. I'm playing a little bit more High on Life. I played some season 2 of Call of Duty. It's pretty good. I've played some more hockey. I played a little bit more baseball. My friend Mo just bought his house, so he's moving so we can play some more Madden. And if you don't like the fact that I'm playing all these sports titles, as well as Marvel Snap on my phone, but if you don't like that I'm playing all these sports titles, you can fight me. And you can do that in the new boxing title, Undisputed, which I am also playing.
Are you doing better in Marvel Snap at least?
That is subjective. If I'm doing better, I am still playing.
Okay.
So like,
did you try Midnight Suns?
No, so I haven't yet, but I've heard really good things about Midnight Suns.
Cool.
Have you played Midnight Suns yet?
No, man, but you know something that we should play sometime if you're ever inclined? Ghostbusters Spirits Unleashed.
So is that on Game Pass now?
It's not on Game Pass, but I play it on PS5, but it's crossplay.
Okay.
And I mean, it wasn't a full price game, but it's just you and I played Friday the 13th a few times.
Right. Yes.
It's like that, but you're a Ghostbuster, and so it's like four people playing as Ghostbusters, one person playing as a ghost.
Yeah.
Man, it's a blast.
I heard it was really unbalanced.
They made some balance fixes. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, the devs have been very active in hot fixes and patches and balancing changes and gadgets and things. And they just released some first free DLC. They said that they're going to do that quarterly. They just added a new map. They added shells to make your equipment look like the real Ghostbusters cartoon. So if you want it to be like bright blue instead of black, then you can. It's awesome. It's very good.
Okay. All right. Done and done.
All right. Anything else, Cicero?
No, man. Fight me.
I'm good.
Yeah.
As for myself, I've been playing Marvel Snap as well. I have improved. It's not subjective. I'm a level 75 of this season so far. So A-. I feel like that's a good rating. Compared to where I came from.
Just a good rating. Well, level 22. Shut up.
Fight me.
Right.
Other than that, I'm glad that my girl doesn't watch or listen to the pod, because I met my wife in Hogwarts Legacy, and that's going to be Professor Garlic, the herbology teacher. She's something else. But other than that, I picked up Call of Duty Season 2.
Nice.
Enjoying that. The new island, the samurai swords. Very cool. DMZ on a smaller map. Always fun. And then I picked up Dead Space Remake. And I was waiting for it for a while. Finally got my hands on it. And just like Chris is excited about his Metroid game, I am excited about this game. It looks stunning. It looks so good. And they personified the character Isaac. They put a voice on him. The story is more fluid. The action is just, it's so good. It's very good. If you like scary games, it's very good. It makes me miss the good scary games. And I can't wait to get into that New Game Plus feature once I finish it. But yeah, that's what I've been playing. Enjoying it very much as well. Are you guys ready?
Are you ready?
For the namesake of the show, test your might.
Are you ready?
I'm the host.
Or ready. I'm ready. I'm ready.
You don't sound ready.
Stay ready. Can't get ready.
Oh, okay. So you're like the Hulk, like when you're angry.
Right.
You're
Yes.
angry. Okay.
I'm always angry.
Okay. All right. On to the first debate. If you had to pick one unreleased 2023 game to add to Game Pass day one, what would it be and why? Chris, you're a special guest today. Would you like to go first or second?
I'll go second.
All right. Handing the torch to Cicero.
Right.
What game would you add to Game Pass day one? A 2023 unreleased game so far.
2023 unreleased game. I got to go first?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Well, fine. If I got to go first, then I'm going to give you the correct answer, right? Because there is really only one answer, and the entire universe knows it. And that answer is the game that go on Game Pass day one that has not been released yet is Insomniac's Marvel Spider-Man 2.
No, I thought you were going to go with Tears of the Kingdom. Chris, go ahead. What do you got?
I'll take things in a different direction, because I actually think there is a likelihood that it could go on Game Pass at some point, and that is Jedi Survivor. There is a documented lineage between Respawn's Star Wars and Xbox. When I went to the Star Wars Celebration in Chicago in 2019, it was Xbox themed giveaways that were accompanying the announcement and the trailer premiere of Fallen Order. So it seems like, at least with that first game, they were leaning on Xbox, probably because it had a bit of a power advantage over the PS4 Pro. It could show off the game a little better on the console side. But Jedi Survivor just seems like a pretty keen opportunity for Disney to take advantage of a really solid built-in install base. And EA already has like their own service as a part of a Game Pass membership. It would make a hell of a splash. So Jedi Survivor.
You hear that? Go ahead.
I did hear that, and I think, I mean, there's nothing wrong with what Chris said, right? Because the thing that's ultimately going to happen is that Jedi Survivor will be in Game Pass, right? Because it's an EA game. EA Play is part of Game Pass, and all of those games wind up in the vault. So eventually it will be there. What we know won't be there. What we know Xbox only gamers won't have the opportunity to play is the sequel to the game that I called my game of the generation last generation, Insomniac's Marvel Spider-Man. And if Marvel Spider-Man not only left exclusivity, but also went into Game Pass day one, that would be the greatest thing ever, because not only would it be amazing news, but that would mean that everyone gets to play the sequel to just an incredibly accessible and beautifully crafted masterpiece. And we all anticipate that Insomniac's not going to miss this time around. Plus, there's going to be co-op. So, man, what would the world be like? World peace would happen if we could get Marvel's Spider-Man 2 on Game Pass day one.
Vladimir Putin would see the error of his ways.
100%.
Right? Xi Jinping would hand deliver the balloons straight to the White House.
That's correct.
When this happens.
That is correct.
You know, and there's nothing wrong with what Cicero said. But I also remember, you know, when I was a kid, the thing I wanted to be the most in the world was an astronaut. Then I grew up and I realized you had to be good at math to be an astronaut. And I had to bring my dreams back down to earth. And I think that there is a lot of value in honing your aim so that there is a greater degree of likelihood that your dreams will pan out, at least as you get older, right? And yes, Jedi Survivor is probably going to be on Game Pass someday, but it is not part of the strategy, as far as I know, that game be included as a launch game day one on Game Pass. And considering how aggressive Microsoft has been in trying to sort of put the nail in the coffin of this acquisition that they're trying to oversee, they're fighting that on all fronts. But it would probably be a pretty big shock, and I know it certainly wouldn't be a very good surprise for Sony if Microsoft, EA, and Disney were able to come up with an idea to have Jedi Survivor there day one on Game Pass. The goodwill that it would cultivate among a lot of gamers would be very high, while also demonstrating the importance of Game Pass in expanding the audience for a particular game.
All right, you are going to get one more, but just talk up your own game. Don't fight
game.
the other game of the opponent at all. Okay. Cicero, go ahead.
It is one of the most anticipated games of this year, of this generation. Insomniac Marvel's Spider-Man 2. It's lots of words, but it's lots of game. And, you know, the fact is that there are so many people I was just listening to an end of the year review that someone had where they bought a PS5 this year, and it was their very first PlayStation console. And the first thing that they wanted to do, the thing that they were most looking forward to doing, was playing Insomniac's Marvel Spider-Man 2, or Marvel Spider-Man, and absolutely falling in love with that game. And the fact that there are so many players that have not had an opportunity to play that game, and conceivably won't have an opportunity to play the sequel, is such a tragedy. And if they were able to make that happen, you talk about love and goodwill and all of that stuff. This game, whoa, to everyone, it would change everything. Everything.
All right, Chris, your last promotion for your game.
I think it's pretty fair to say that when Jedi Fallen Order was about to come out, it was definitely on people's radars, but I don't think people expected it to be as good of a game as it was. It's like a strange combination between like Dark Souls and Zelda and Star Wars all being blended together into one experience from a developer that really cut its teeth on an entirely different type of game, but also had managed to cultivate really well-deserved reputation for quality with the Titanfall games. Then you see really what they're capable of when they move over to a game like Fallen Order, and not only is it just a really crunchy experience that feels really valuable, especially as Cal gets stronger over the course of the game, but it also tells a really interesting character story about this kid who is effectively orphaned by Order 66 and finds a new path forward by being true to who he really is, forged in a crucible of the Dark Lord of the Sith by the end of the game. So I think people's expectations for Fallen Order, they were probably reasonably high, but I think it shattered virtually everyone's expectations of what that game was going to be, especially considering that Respawn had never made a game like that before. So when it came out and it became clear how good it was, I think everybody was really anticipatory for a new chapter in Cal's story. And now that they're going to bring it out in just a couple of months and they're unshackling it from previous generation hardware, it can really do what it needs to do to tell an expansive story based on current hardware limitations, which are much, much higher than the previous gens were. There's a lot of potential in Jedi Survivor, not just to be another great, solid gameplay experience, but to also tell a meaningful story in the run-up to the time right before the original trilogy. And that's a story that connects with the majority of people. I mean, people who are fans of Star Wars are probably fans of the original trilogy first. So the idea of having a Jedi there with this really solid interactive experience and with a story that has been proven to be solid already, I think it's what you need. And if you threw that on Game Pass on day one, then that would make a huge splash. And I know I'd certainly be there.
All right. Chris, you got this one.
Really? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Cicero, that's crazy. But it's okay. Sure. It's a good pick for sure. You did say everyone will get to play it. So is there a Switch version coming out as well?
Well, yeah.
Or did you just exclude them?
Well, I mean, Game Pass is coming to the Switch too, right? So
okay. All right. There you go. Okay. All right. That's one for Chris. On to the second debate. PSVR 2, hopefully you guys have heard about it, is receiving very high praise. So it's your job to pitch me a game from a Sony IP that hasn't been announced. And this game should be something that would make gamers want to get a PSVR 2. Drop everything and grab a PSVR 2 to play this game because of how good it's going to be. Something that's not announced already. Cicero, would you like to go first or second?
Going first.
First for Cicero.
Yes.
Go ahead.
You know what? We've been here for a long time. I'm going to go to sleep. And when I go to sleep, I'm going to dream I'm going to dream about PSVR 2 having dreams. Dreams for PSVR 2 is the game that will get people to buy a PSVR 2 also.
Okay. Go ahead, Chris.
I mean, I think that one of the more intriguing games that was designed for PSVR 2 is Horizon Call of the Mountain. Some of the stuff that I've seen from that, just like these really expansive, beautiful vistas and really solid environments, and the idea of interacting with that in a virtual environment it's really appealing. So what could do that that's already in Sony's IP library that might be able to give you kind of a different perspective on that? Because Horizon, as cool as it is, it is a fantasy world, so there might be kind of a semblance of removal from that on the part of the player. But I think it'd be pretty ripe for Uncharted if they actually decided to continue the Uncharted franchise in a virtual reality format, and if you actually had Naughty Dog that was putting their acumen to the test in a virtual environment, and you brought the trademark globetrotting along the way with it. Probably not with Nate. I think Nate's story is satisfyingly completed, but there's several other characters that they could focus on if they wanted to, whether you wanted to continue with like Nadine and not Elena. Why can't I think of her name? Anyway, she led Lost Legacy along with Nadine. Chloe Fraser.
Okay.
You could do that. You could do Nate's brother Sam. But the idea of like a virtual reality Uncharted game with like cover-based shooting mechanics and these really cool detailed environments from across the globe, I think that'd probably sell a few PSVR 2.
All right, Cicero.
Yeah.
Go ahead and describe your game for me. Tell me about it.
That sounds cool. What Chris was describing right there. What's cool about dreams is in dreams you can make that, right? And in dreams I can make Horizon Forbidden West, right? Or I can make a game of tic-tac-toe, or I can make a movie, or I could do any of those things. And what we've seen, if you've looked at the dreams community for the PS4 and for PSVR ish, like you got to see a version of like creativity that you didn't even believe to be possible, right? Like these are the types of Dreams is a type of game that allows for these quantum shifts in, and not even to sound hyperbolic, but in human evolution, right? In the way that we think about the mediums that we interact with, and doing that in something that is as capable as the PSVR 2 is. This handset is this piece of hardware is being ballied about like it is as competitive or as technically savvy as the Meta Quest Pro. So which is triple the price. So I mean that much is incredible. So, and being able to do that with dreams where you can just create things, and you can actually create things in a 3D space that you're looking around in. That is just thinking about it blows my mind. Just thinking about what people can create and what they would be able to do with that, and what we'd be able to consume, not only in a 3D space, but in a complete virtual space where you'll be able to experience other people's games and visions and stories completely in a virtual reality space. Oh man, it's going to be incredible if they do it, but it hasn't been announced yet.
Okay, Chris, tell me about your Uncharted game. What would it be like gameplay wise? What would it look like?
I think that you could probably take some pretty noticeable cues from was it the London Heist game, and like even some of PSVR World's where that had some shooting components and like car chases and things. But the key would be just in pushing the fidelity. I mean, that's the thing that has made PSVR 2 such an expensive prospect, really, is the fact that it is pretty stacked when it comes to specs. So it has the latitude and the roof on it to be able to create some of the richest worlds that are available in consumer grade virtual reality. So I think that you tell a story that is reminiscent of sort of maybe the experiences that Sam went through between the time where he was captured and then the time where he actually goes to find Nate. I think that that would probably be a good basis of a story. And then you do the Uncharted thing, right? Like, how would you accomplish some of the platforming components of it? You know, I feel like virtual reality platforming, especially from a first-person perspective, is not something that has been really that well discussed or even realized in the virtual reality space that we've seen so far. Like, some of the VR platforming games have usually been like from a third-person perspective, and they kind of push the camera out, and it's cool. But there is something to be said about the immediacy of seeing a obstacle in front of you that you need to jump across, especially in a high fidelity virtual reality environment. And you have ideally some of the best developers working today in Naughty Dog that could turn their attention to VR. That would be a pretty singular experience if they were actually inclined to do it. And I think that's the biggest question mark that would hang over this as a concept. But the Uncharted games are almost universally praised whenever one comes out, with the possible exception of the Vita game that I think only a percentage of people who have played an Uncharted game have ever played. But if you actually have a legitimate contender with VR platforming, cover-based shooting, and those balls-to-the-wall action scenes that Uncharted is so known for, but, you know, you're in the head of Sam Drake while all that stuff is going on, pretty definitive kind of virtual reality experience, I would think. So I would get excited about it.
Cicero?
So I'm picturing Chris in the pitch meeting right now, pitching his idea for the Uncharted VR game, right? And so he's in his meeting, and he pulls out, the television screen that's sitting in there, the monitor that's in there. He throws up his presentation on the screen, and he shows the video. And in that video, he says, "Here is my idea of what our Uncharted VR game could be. This is what I was able to put together last night, pretty rudimentarily in Dreams." And everyone gets to watch his presentation of what the Uncharted game could be like if there were a whole host of people working in Dreams to make the Uncharted game. Dreams is everything, right? It is all of the things together. So yes, you can make a narrative, right? And what you can't do is voice acting, right? So you don't necessarily have that part of it. But you can make a driving game, you can make platforming, you can do any of those things in this virtual space, and like a level of creativity that you'll be able to have within the confines of Dreams will allow all of us, pardon the pun, to make our dreams come true.
Go ahead, Chris.
Look, Cicero's not wrong. The ability that Dreams gives you to make something is really only limited by your imagination. And I know that if I got my hands on something like that, I could probably have a lot of fun with it. But I also know I'm not Naughty Dog. So because of that, you know, I don't come with a world-class, proven track record of these definitive AAA gaming experiences across several different generations, going all the way back to Crash Bandicoot. and down through The Last of Us Part 2 and all the previous Uncharted games. So, yeah, look, if people are confident enough in what they want to craft, that they want to make something like that, an approximation of what an Uncharted game might look like in virtual reality, by all means, go for it. That doesn't mean that you are the same caliber of chef, let's say, as those under the Naughty Dog umbrella who know what they need to do to make an Uncharted experience that can reach for that so-called brass ring, right? And as fun as I'm sure that I would have and millions of other people would have to make their own kind of game in Dreams, I would pay to see what kinds of stuff Naughty Dog can cook up in VR, because only they would really be able to do it. So that's what I'd like to see. I want to see that acumen that informed games like Uncharted 4, The Last of Us Part 2, applied to virtual reality, because I know they could do it better than anybody.
All right. Chris, you got another point. Cicero, you said it. You said it. Dreams is everything. But Chris hit you right back with, it's the fidelity that matters. That's the reason you want to play it. It's because of the quality of that game. And what Naughty Dog could do would definitely be standalone and something that you would want to buy a PSVR for.
It was a great argument, and everyone has their opinion. Sometimes your opinion is wrong. It was still a great argument.
All right, on to the third debate, Cicero. Are you ready?
Let's go.
You know, bring the heat.
Fuego.
2 down, 2 more to go.
Right.
Hogwarts Legacy. Have you guys played it at all, or I'm sure you've heard about it, but have you played it at all?
Not yet.
Okay. All right, so you're on an even playing field. All right. Hogwarts Legacy is destroying the gaming ranks, doing very well, which reminds me, just a little intro here on our gaming draft of the unreleased titles.
Right.
You currently have a 90, and that's it across the board right now. I gave you the highest score, so that's what it is right now.
Thank you.
Okay. What is going to be the first major DLC content update? This is something that's not announced, something that they're going to add to the game. That's going to be a major DLC for Hogwarts Legacy. Cicero, you lost. Would you like to go first or second?
I got to go first because I got to take this answer. Okay. Right? Like, because if I don't say Quidditch, Chris is going to say Quidditch. And then what am I going to say? So
you're saying Quidditch?
I'm going first, and I'm saying multiplayer Quidditch.
Okay. Chris, go ahead and give your answer, and then we'll come back to Cicero to implicate it.
That's a tough question. And Quidditch is a very, very solid answer for that. I'm gonna go with a little bit of a different, I do like crazy answers.
So,
what if there was an instance in which the Chamber of Secrets was opened that we didn't know about?
Ooh. Okay. I like it. I like where you're going. I like that. Cicero, Quidditch.
Yes.
Multiplayer Quidditch.
Yes.
Waffles and everything in
Waffles
between.
And waffles and
beaters and seekers.
Right. Yes. And golden snitches.
Waffles.
So for the witches. So the thing is, right, you get to go onto the Quidditch pitch, right? With your broom, on your broom, and you get to talk to people when they're over there doing Quidditch things, but you don't get to play Quidditch. And where would, this is the thing that people want to be able to do, right? Like, yes, I'm in that wizarding world. I am at Hogwarts. I am where they're playing their one sport that everybody knows, but I can't play it. Well, here's the DLC. We're going to allow you to play it. And by the way, right, since it doesn't really, this is something that is completely outside of the game, or at least the narrative that we're telling, this particular game mode won't be affected by the narrative. Here it is. It is multiplayer Quidditch. You go through a portal on the Quidditch pitch, and you get to play it. Up to however I was at 6 or 7 players on each side. So you can have those. The people that are not there are AI. It's kind of like NHL hockey, right? Where you have your chell and you can have your teammates and you guys can play together and everyone has a position. And the people that aren't there, right? Whatever players you don't have, there are NPCs that play and AI that play for you. And that will be their DLC. Quidditch.
So you're saying the Quidditch pitch is like a port key? It just transports you
Correct.
to
the multiplayer zone where you get to play Quidditch and then you back out and you can go back to playing Hogwarts Legacy.
All right, Chris, the chamber has been opened.
Yeah. Well, so I think that this is like when it comes to Harry Potter, like honestly, this isn't a game that I'm probably planning on playing. But I was very into the books before, and I did absorb a fair amount of granular detail when it came to what the continuity of the books presented. And did they give like a solid definitive year that the story takes place in, or is it just loosely the late 1800s?
It's in the 1800s. I think there is a definitive year.
I'll get that to you. Just go ahead and keep going.
Sure. Because there could be another wrinkle thrown in depending on the exact year that it takes place. But I think that, as far as I understand, based on my recollections of the books, most of the stories of the books take place like in the early 90s. I think that's right. Harry Potter's time.
It's in the 1800s is what
it just gives the range of the 1800s.
It just gives the range. Okay.
Yeah.
So 50 years or so before was when a young Tom Riddle opened the chamber for seemingly the first time in, I think, a couple millennia, as far as the legend goes. But according to the lore that I remember, in 1880 or thereabouts, like within a few years from there, that's when a boy named Gellert Grindelwald was born.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't take a lot of imagination to see that maybe the game could align with his time being a wizarding student. And I think it might be kind of interesting if they told a story of the chamber being opened before Riddle was even at the school, because it's like 40 some odd years away, if we were talking like late 1800s, that he's even there. So I think that it might be fun to delve into the chamber and maybe do some of that sort of backfeeding kind of quote-unquote foreshadowing about what kind of threat Grindelwald is going to represent to that world. But, maybe the instance in which he opened the chamber and it was dealt with by you had to be scrubbed from the annals of wizarding history. So it was forgotten by the time Tom Riddle became a student at the school. Because I think that might be kind of an interesting idea, since we know several things that happen from the time that the chamber was open when Harry was a student. How would you deal with that? If there were certain kids turning up at school that just were petrified statues, basically, and if there might even have been a murder take place on the grounds, like how would you have to deal with that? What would you have to do to actually go into the chamber and put a stop to things? That might be a worthy story to be told.
The bathroom is in the game. No one's found a way in yet, but it is in the game. Cicero, Quidditch.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, like what can I say about Quidditch that I haven't already said about Quidditch? And that is that people want to play it. And like, think about this. Think about it this way. You're playing Quidditch. You join a Quidditch league. You guys are in a tournament. You win a certain number of games, and you wind up getting a special robe or a special wand or a special broom that you can now bring back to your game and also show off to other people as you're waiting in the queue for the Quidditch game. Now, I'm not going to say that this is going to happen, but, you know, many people, some people may know that Fortnite Battle Royale is called Fortnite Battle Royale for a reason, because that is not the original game. The original game was Fortnite Save the World. And that was a very different game. And that game begot the game that we colloquially call Fortnite now. I'm not saying that Hogwarts Legacy is going to be the Save the Worlds to a Quidditch game, to Hogwarts Legacy Quidditch multiplayer, but there is that potential for this to have its own life and allow them to do something very, very different in that space with this sport that gives them lots of space to do lots of things. You choose a school, you choose a school to a wizarding school to be a part of. You could have, you know, the Hufflepuff versus the Ravenclaw, and there can be Hufflepuff, like, actual fans spectating in your respective areas and cheering for the match as they watch what's going on. And all of that stuff could lead you to getting more cosmetic items that you can show off to other people while you're playing the game. It seems like a no-brainer to me.
Okay. I like it. Are the Griswolds in this one?
In the Griswolds in the Grindelwalds in mine, or the Griswolds?
Yeah, in yours. Yeah.
No. So there will be nobody that we know from Harry Potter or from the films or the books will be in our versions of the game. They will stand alone as their own thing.
Okay. I'm going to give you guys both one sentence or two sentences each. One to buff your own and one to take down the opponents.
Okay.
Chris, go ahead. One sentence, no run-ons, just a sentence for buffing your own and one to take down. And this is it. This will determine the victor.
If you're going to have a game based on an IP, you should use the game to tell interesting stories within that IP that haven't been told before.
That was the
Quidditch
dash.
would be a lot of fun.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know if it would necessarily bring anything new to the table of the lore.
Okay. Cicero, same thing.
You can't have a game about Hogwarts and not be able to play Quidditch in it. If you decide to attach Hogwarts Legacy to any of the popular media in this IP, then you forever taint Hogwarts Legacy, or you forever attach Hogwarts Legacy to the film IP.
Okay. I'm going to give this one to Cicero. Strictly because they have done so well at staying clear of the actual stories and the movies, and they're trying to stay as far away from it as possible so that they don't have those fans get angry because they have enough to worry about right now.
Right.
So yes, seeing the Chamber of Secrets internal would be awesome, but if they were to do that, it would change the backstory, like what Rings of Power did, right?
Right.
People got upset about. Same thing. So
Right.
Quidditch, even though it's the most thought thing that's going to happen, it also wins the argument. Apparently, I do like the port key being the pitch though. That's pretty cool.
The
Okay.
fact that it is not a part of that game is kind of preposterous. So
Hey,
well, I mean-
already had a stronger argument from the beginning.
They do reference it in the game itself. When you first get to the school, they say like
Yeah.
there was an injury or something the year prior, so Quidditch is canceled this year. So they do reference it at least. They don't just leave it in the dark. At least something. All right, on to the blind fight.
Uh-oh.
Let me bring up my my notes here. I've got it. You guys ready? This is gonna be crazy. And Chris, you get to choose first. This is a classic celebrity death match.
Mm.
No strings attached death match. And this episode we didn't use the in reverse, by the way. I just left it out for this episode.
Yeah, that's perfect.
So most people would love to see the main protagonists or antagonists fight to the death. But let's go with the backups. Let's go with the best man or the best woman and have them face off in a celebrity-like death match. No strings attached. Chris, you have the choice between Luigi and Tails from Sonic the Hedgehog.
Luigi.
Luigi is chosen by Chris. That means, Cicero, you have Tails.
Right.
All right. Chris, you lost that one, so you can go first if you'd like, or you can let Cicero take the first swings.
I like hearing Cicero go first. I'm gonna keep that going.
All right.
Okay.
Well, this is here are some things that we know. Right? Luigi is tall. He is green. He can jump high. But here's the other thing that we know about Luigi. He's not the most courageous of folks. He approaches many new prospects with trepidation, has lots of fear, something that he needs to overcome. And it's going to be hard to overcome that when a nondescript furry animal with two tails comes whirling at you at lightning speed. He spins around and makes Luigi dizzy. That's the opening salvo from Tails. Terrifying and causing all sorts of confusion to Luigi, who is now Laqueezy.
Go ahead.
The single most attributable reality to Luigi is that he is always underestimated. I think we saw that on full display when it was incumbent upon him to rise to the challenge and realize that no one else was coming. That when a bunch of ghosts captured his much more famous, well-rounded brother, Luigi needed to step up. He needed to infiltrate that mansion, needed to slap down a bunch of ghosts, and be the one to save Mario. Not a lot of people can say they've saved Mario. Luigi can say he saved Mario. Not saying that it would be an easy thing to overcome because, yeah, my boy isn't the bravest person in the world, but he does not back down even when he's afraid. And I think that says a lot for the fortitude and for the ability of the often overlooked younger brother, who's a snappy dresser and will always surprise you whenever he's given the chance.
Cicero?
I mean, again, Chris's eloquence is only matched by his accuracy. And everything that he said about Luigi is absolutely true. And makes him worthy of praise. But he's going up against, again, a nondescript woodland creature with two tails that's anthropomorphized sized. Now, here's like, I don't know that he can deal with that. Like most of the creatures that he has to deal with they don't speak the same language. But Tails, he speaks the same language that Luigi speaks, and he also speaks some other language that, Luigi doesn't even know about. There's so many things that he can do. Now, Luigi can jump high, but Tails can fly. And he will use his hovering ability to unhook any lamps or posts or anything that's up high up in the air and just drop it on Luigi's head. Let's see him vacuum those things up.
Go ahead, Chris. The strings are off apparently now.
I would not want to be on the other end of Luigi's ghost vacuum, especially that G00 model that you see in Luigi's Mansion 3. That guy can get the job done. You look at whether you're looking at Nort, whether you're looking at King Boo, or even Bowser himself, these are all beings that have fallen to the brown shoes of Luigi. One way or another. He will always surprise you, and Tails is a formidable opponent. I'm not going to try to diminish how capable and good-natured and fun-loving a guy like Tails is. But at the end of the day, too, you have to bow to the person who is most likely to best the odds. And I think in the full history of Tails and in the full history of Luigi, Luigi just has the edge in terms of surprising people who have written him off to overcome that jitter that he has and save the day once again. Or in this case, have to slap Tails to the side.
Go ahead, Cicero.
Talk is just talk. He didn't talk about what he was actually going to do. He said he was going to slap him to the side. Tails is about business. Those two tails go to work, right? And like I said, so, Luigi is Laqueezy, and then he's spinning around, he's doing all the stuff. He's trying to go ahead and motivate. He's trying to get himself back to where he needs to be. But now he's got light fixtures falling from the sky, and hopefully they don't get, he doesn't get hit by those. But then here comes Tails again with his tail making a wind tunnel in front of Luigi, and he's taking his breath away. So now Luigi, I don't know what he's going to do. Is he going to fight or is he going to breathe? That's the trouble with messing with Tails.
Go ahead, Chris.
That G00 goes in both directions, man. If he wants to try and suck the air out, Luigi can just blow more in. He's got the things on the sides. He can grab it, and he can shoot it right at Tails while he's busy flittering his tails around, knock him out the sky, and then run, do that flutter jump, and bring those brown boots of death down on Tails. That's what would happen in this kind of a fight. My boy has done it before to much tougher enemies. And he can do it to Tails.
So Luigi likes brutalizing woodland creatures. Okay, bet. All right.
In a situation where you have him facing off.
All right.
Yeah. It's not like he would take any joy in it, but if he's got it.
This hurts me more than it hurts you, is what he's saying. I've heard that before.
Luigi doesn't like hurting anybody, but he doesn't back down. Even when he's scared, or in the case of Mario Kart 8, when he's mad. when he's got the death stare going. When he's got the death stare going, man, you better run in the other direction. Luigi's coming for you.
All right, you guys each get one more back and forth. Use it how you will. Either talk about the other person's flaws or just finish him. Finish him. That's what it is.
Yes. Well, who's up first?
Cicero, back to you.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, this Tails. This is Sonic's friend. You know Sonic, right? That really fast hedgehog. Well, Tails, he's also fast, but he doesn't let his feet touch the ground. He allows his tails to move him through the air, and he cuts through the air like nobody's business. He soars like an eagle, and he darts around like a hummingbird. And these types of attributes are going to be just too great for Luigi and his brown boots and his stupid vacuum cleaners.
Go ahead, Chris.
Luigi is so magnanimous. He would not stoop to belittling Tails. Even if he could, he wouldn't want to do it. He would let the boots do the talking and the walking and would get it done before anyone would even need to raise a stink about it. My man rolls with Mario, the hero of the Mushroom Kingdom, who has saved countless worlds across countless galaxies and countless dimensions. Luigi was there for all of it, and he's locked all that knowledge up here. Tails just wouldn't stand a chance. Tails' world is so much smaller than the world of Mario and Luigi that I kind of feel bad for him, but I feel worse for him if he is the poor soul who has to stand across from Luigi, who, in several different instances, you could argue, has taken down the likes of Sephiroth, Samus, Captain Falcon, Star Wolf. Like, he's probably laid waste to all of those people in different meetings of the Smash minds. And he could do it to Tails too. And Sonic! He's taken down Sonic in Smash. I've done that myself as Luigi. So it's there. If Luigi can take down Sonic, he could take down Tails.
Wow. Really went there. You brought in the Smash Brothers rosters. Oh, goodness. You know, I was on your side, Cicero. I was on your side, and then he brought the celebrity deathmatch out. And Chris, that just won you this episode.
Yeah.
That was,
Yeah.
that,
As
was
always.
that was rough. There was no coming back from that.
Right. As soon as he said, yeah, he beat Sonic.
My friend, as always, you're a formidable opponent, and I bow to you.
Yes.
Cloud,
Today was a good day to die. In Test Your Might.
you get one quick sentence to your fans. You're going to get a plug at
There
the
you
end, but this is just a sentence for your fans. Anyone who believed in you.
I just want to thank anybody who believed in me. I'm only as good as the people who care about the things that I bring to the table. And if you care, you have my eternal gratitude. Thank you very much.
All right. And that ends.
That is your champion, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. Cicero, you got to come back more often. That's what's happening.
Yeah,
I think you're
right,
out of
right.
practice.
Yeah, no, man. No, I'm getting rusty.
All right. On to the news. You guys ready?
Yeah.
News of the week or the week. Civilization 7. You guys ever played Civilization? I'm sure you have.
Oh, heck yeah.
I was a huge fan. Civilization 4, 5, 6. 7 was announced, apparently, and they're working on it. You guys excited? It's gonna be interesting.
Sure. What I'm worried about with respect to it is the fact that it's the same team that's working on Midnight Suns. It's Firaxis.
Mm-hmm.
So now they promise to be able to work on to continue to support Midnight Suns while working on Civ 7,
And
but
XCOM.
right. So we we hope that they don't spread themselves too thin, and all of those titles wind up suffering as a result. The Civ 6 was good, but it wasn't great.
Mm-hmm.
And so so the hope is that Civ 7 can restore the legacy that we loved from those titles and expand on it in ways that make it feel meaningful and consumable. So that's my worry, is that they may have spread themselves a little too thin and may not be able to give it all the attention that it needs.
How about you, Chris? Excited?
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, it's been a while since I played a Civilization game, but there is a degree of recognizability that comes with that name, and I think that a lot of people would be really excited to sort of revisit those kinds of worlds that they've been building up for so long, But at the same time, I think Cicero is absolutely right. Developers these days are always asked to do so much more with so much less. And it's not like the resources that get pumped over to devs to work on multiple projects just magically are conjured out of thin air. A lot of these people have to figure out how they're going to pump the resources that they have access to into these assignments that they're getting. And it's a tall order. I've seen other studios brought down for less. So I would be a little bit nervous about spreading them too thin, because I think that you need to nurture the talent in order to, create new versions and updates to existing games that bring something meaningful to the experience for the players who buy in. And I just hope that they're given the TLC that they certainly deserve in bringing these kinds of experiences to us.
Yeah, I agree completely. All strong points. I'd also like to see a console version drop. The Age of Empires came out and they found a way to do it with the console controller. This is turn based, and you wait and you take your time. It's not real time, so it's easier to implicate that, I think, in my opinion, so that you really don't have to worry about doing everything at all the time.
Right. That's true.
Yeah, I'm glad that, I think with Age of Empires, you're totally right. They managed to find a way to make it work. And there are some other, strategy games that had already started to come to console. And, Wheels are a wonder in strategy games on consoles. And, I think that there's a big untapped player base there. But there's a lot of consoles, especially on the Xbox side right now. You could plug a keyboard and a mouse into it if you want to.
Also true.
So you're not even necessarily cut off there. If you have controller-based inputs, then great, but you can also give people the option to play in maybe the way that they're more used to. So go for it.
Yeah, definitely agree. Spreading them even thinner in that case, though.
Right.
So Ubisoft has a lot, their quote, for E3. So I thought it'd be a little fun, a little prediction kind of thing. What do you think their major thing they're going to show off at E3 will be? Now they did state that they're waiting for other companies and other developers to say to confirm they are going, in order to confirm that they are going. But they did state they do want to go, and they have a lot of stuff to show off. Interesting, but prediction wise, what game do you think they're going to show off the big highlight, the big spiel, the main event? Chris, over to you first. What do you think Ubisoft's got for us?
I would imagine that if they want to make a big splash, then they would lead with Assassin's Creed, either Assassin's Creed or maybe Far Cry.
Okay.
I think it's been a little longer since we've had a Far Cry game, but everybody always tunes into Assassin's Creed, and it sounds like the next Creed game is really ambitious and potentially live servicey, which I know all these publishers love. So it would make sense if that's where they leaned. What I would like to see from them that isn't going to happen, but should, is something that might actually get me to buy a PSVR 2, and that's Star Trek Bridge Crew 2. Right? That's what I want to see. That first game was awesome,
It was.
and it needs more, especially on potentially more capable hardware. And the first one's not compatible on the current headset, so it's like, why am I going to buy a PSVR 2? My favorite VR game, I can't play on it. You do Bridge Crew 2, it start coming around a little bit more. So that's what I'd like to see, even though I don't think it's going to happen.
Dang. Cicero, what do you got? Prediction?
Predictions. I'm surprised that Chris didn't go with this. I think they will lead with Assassin's Creed, and I think people will be very, very excited to see Assassin's Creed because it's been a couple of years since we've seen one. Yeah, like what they've been cooking up over the last couple of years is definitely going to be something that everyone's going to be really excited about. But the thing that they need to lead with, right, or not lead with, but they need to drop is some more Tom Clancy games, right? Let's get a Splinter Cell game. Let's get a return to form in a Ghost Recon game. But primarily, let's get a Splinter Cell game. And I think if they lead with that, they'll be good. What we'll wind up seeing at E3 is Skull and Bones.
Oh, a new release date?
Yeah, right.
I feel like for myself, I personally would love to see a Far Cry 7, but I think that it's going to be an Assassin's Creed. I'm on that train. They had Infinite, or I believe it was Assassin's Creed Infinite, and then there was also Assassin's Creed Mirage. And Mirage is apparently going back to its roots and stealth wise, and like playing the game stealthy instead of, the Valhalla technique.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm excited for it. Assassin's Creed. Now, Tom Clancy, that's wild. And you don't know how many people would love that. I'm sure Ryan McCaffrey would love that. He's like a huge Splinter Cell fan as well. That's also stealth. So if this game works out, if Mirage works out and the stealth technique works, that opens that door. And I would love to see it happen. All right. On to the next topic. We've got PSVR 2. It seems to be a running theme throughout this podcast. But have you guys seen the game Switchback? Switchback VR. This is a roller coaster like horror experience that tracks your eyeballs, so that when you blink, the game gets worse for you.
Right.
Like Don't Blink from Doctor Who. This is 10 times worse because it's in your face, coming at you at every second. I believe it's made by the Supermassive game, the Dark Pictures anthology people.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is technology at its finest. What do you guys think of this? Like eye tracking, terrifying experience.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the technology is great that they're implementing there. It's a shame that I won't ever be able to play that game. It really is. Yeah, like what happens if your eyes remain closed the entire time?
You just hear the audio probably.
Right. So there you go. Yeah, this is a big help.
Out of fear, or
thank you.
Like you're doing the Luigi roll and running away. What do you mean by that?
Yeah. Oh, listen, man. Yeah. No. I got a whole bunch of Luigi energy for this. A whole lot of Luigi energy for this. No, thank you. No, thank you. My life is scary enough. I don't need virtual scares because they'll turn into actual scares. No, thanks.
What about you, Chris?
I think it's a great idea. I mean, conceivably, like you want developments in technology, particularly on gaming platforms, to be useful, right? To use the new technological capabilities that come from more advanced hardware in order to connect with you on a more emotional level. That's why you're dumping so much money into these things, is because you want to be immersed. You want to be taken to another place. You want to be taken to another time. technology's advancement just for the sake of like, oh hey, prettier visuals. Yeah, that has a place, and that's cool to see, and that's for a lot of people that might be all they care about. But ideally, you want new technology to be able to tell a story in a new way that was not previously accessible to you. And eye tracking technology in VR and to actually affect the way that the game is rendered and the things that it's showing you, that's a way that you can advance a kind of storytelling. And that sounds really intriguing to me. I mean, the last time I had I guess a VR roller coaster-ish experience was it was on the first PSVR. It was that Until Dawn Rush of Blood, um, which was a solid game. It was like a shooter and just pretty disturbing in certain places, but a relatively static kind of affair. And it did have like quite a bit of jump scaring from some of the environments. Some of them came right at you, but it was a pretty straightforward kind of VR shooter experience. So this sounds like it would take sort of the ideas of what we think of when it comes to a horror virtual reality game while pushing the way that it messes with you forward just a little bit more. So yeah, I think that's totally a worthy effort. If I end up getting a VR2 headset at some point, will I run out and get it? Maybe. We'll see. I'm certainly open to it.
You can have my copy, Chris.
All right. Fair enough. But I mean, we'll see how it's taken when it does come out, because again, like having those beefed up specs is impressive on paper, but it's all about the execution. And if they pull it off, yeah, I'll check it out.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think from the technology standpoint, it's a step in the right direction. I picture the future of looking at the screen or looking at an RTS, say real-time strategy game, right? You're looking at what you want to select and it selects it for you. Eye tracking is a thing that could be improved on, and implicating it into a game for immersion level. All power to you, and I'm down to play for sure. I played Rush of Blood as well when it came out on the PSVR, and that was roller coaster first person shooting. It was a little scary from time to time, but nothing, too bad. Cicero, you'd be fine in it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sure.
All right, that's our news section. Moving on to the gaming draft. How we do this is we each pick 3 titles or 3 options from the category, and then that's it. There's no like leaderboard anymore. This is you pick, and then the fans get to decide who won the draft.
All right.
And also, since Chris won the debate section, you get to choose the order in which we pick. So you can go first or second or third and decide that order. For this week's gaming draft, it is the best first-person shooters of all time. So Chris, what would you like the order to be?
Justin, Cicero, Chris.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
That makes it easy.
All right.
All right. Jeez. So I'm first. I'm going to go with, and I'm going to get a lot of hate for this, but I'm going with GoldenEye for value.
Okay.
I'm going with value on that one. It might not be the best,
right?
But for what it did for the gaming community, it's worth it.
Right. It's about what it meant.
Yes. And it's my personal favorite first-person shooter anyway.
I hear you.
Cicero.
With the next pick, Cicero picks Battlefield 4.
Okay.
Levolution. Charlie Murphy.
All right, Chris.
Halo 2.
2. Interesting. Okay. That's good. All right. Swing back over to me. I'm going to make a lot of people happy with this one. Apex Legends. I'm going with it. For myself. I love it as well. I'm sure Joe's happy about that pick as well. Apex is great. All right, Cicero.
I'm gonna make a lot of people. I'm not sure what I'm gonna make people feel like when I say Destiny 2.
Okay. You made Sean very happy. I know that for a fact. Go ahead, Chris. Your second pick?
Titanfall.
The initial?
Yes.
Okay.
Underrated.
Definitely.
I'm just going to copy and paste this one over. My third pick is going to be Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare for the Xbox 360. The first of the Modern Warfare's initial.
Right.
All right, Cicero.
For my third and final pick, so people are voting on whose 3 picks they like the best, or are they ranking the games that we have in our draft and selecting those?
It could be either. Honestly, it's person to person. It could be their personal favorites of the selection, or it could be overall value. So,
So, yeah.
Or it could be they just like Cicero and they want to pick Cicero's picks. You know, like, it could be that
too. Nobody's afflicted with that. So I'm gonna go completely outside of the box, even further outside of the box than Destiny 2, and pick something that is just barely a shooter, but is most certainly first person in Mirror's Edge.
How did I think that as soon as you said the description you did? Yeah.
Do we talk about games that were, what they did for the industry? Criminally underrated, and unlike any of the games that are on this list, but very, very many games on this list actually owe something to Mirror's Edge.
Not GoldenEye. Okay, Chris.
Well, Cicero has given me permission to also go a little bit outside of the box. Maybe not something exclusively dedicated to shooting, even though it is in the first-person perspective and you do shoot from it. But it's probably more specifically a first-person adventure game. I already talked about it. Metroid Prime.
There you go. I call that a first-person shooter.
You want the first one? You can only have one.
Or you want the remaster?
Yeah, the first one.
Okay. All right.
I love the other two, but I mean, that first one is S tier.
Yeah. All right. So for our gaming draft, our best first-person shooters of all time. For myself, GoldenEye 007, Apex Legends, and Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, when they still had numbers. Cicero, Battlefield 4, Destiny 2, and Mirror's Edge. And for Chris, Halo 2, Titanfall, and Metroid Prime. No Portal on that list, and no Halo 3 either.
I thought you were going Portal, Chris. Your description.
Yeah, it was going to make sense. But you guys get to decide, like I said, down there. Comments, let us know which one you thought, who you thought won that draft. Yeah. Chris Clow, thank you so much for being here. Go ahead and plug yourself. Where can we find you? Where are you at?
Yeah, so the most regular place you can find me is on a YouTube channel called The Comic Binge. Me and my buddy Paul Herman get together usually about once a week and just talk about the comics that we've been reading, comics that we want people to read, comic book media that might have come out recently. So I think this week we are planning on talking about Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, which is currently in theaters. But as Cicero well knows, we are going to jump back in the saddle for Discovery Debrief, a Star Trek podcast, due to the recently premiered 3rd season of Star Trek Picard. So we're jumping back into the saddle about 24 hours from now, and I think we're pretty excited about it.
Awesome.
So find us there.
We'll put all the links down in the description below. and they'll be able to tag you right over there. Thank you again, Chris. You won the debates.
Thank you for the invitation. I really appreciate it. And I don't know, I'm going to take the win with a little bit of a grain of salt because I do think that Cicero did slap me around a bit in several notable places. But either way, I'm just happy to be included alongside my friend.
Well, if you didn't know, we are keeping track this season. And the winner with the most points will get an award during the Mighties. Is that right? Yeah. Currently, you are second, because there's a tie for first. You are in second place for this season.
Look at that.
Cicero, you are not on the board.
I am not on the board.
Yet.
There you go.
Yet. Yes. Yeah, you are in second place, Chris. So come back and win some more.
Back them up.
Moving up. Every week we do it. So,
hey, you know where to find me.
Yeah, definitely.
In the Discord chat on his PC.
Fighting for Luigi in the back room.
Right. I fight for the brown shoes.
Green hats.
Right. Shout out Tron Legacy. All
right. Well, this is Test Your Might episode 107.
What a way to end it.
Yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. See you next week, and you guys have a great rest of your week.
Peace.